All right, this life advice, we could do this deal where we just keep following up with people that have sent in emails. I mean, the vast majority of them are people worrying about career stuff. And, I get it, man, but maybe it's almost like a support group. So we're going to do one of those because the guy's from Nantucket. And I just felt like, it speaks to me a little bit. Even though I'm not a native vineyarder by any means. Trust me, they will remind me of that all the time, that I wasn't born there. Michael checks in. He goes, hey, I listened to last week's life advice. Did you hear that one, Kyle? The guy said he had 8 figures in the bank and he was just sort of bored.
That was his advice? Like, what should I do with it?
Yeah. No, he didn't want my investment advice.
He just wanted to let you know.
He needs it. Yeah, he was just older. He was like, I'm the opposite of a loser. I'm a total winner. And then he was like, I mastered poker. I was sick at golf. And now I don't know what to do. So I told him to start flipping houses or something. I didn't. What I told him is I thought that it was great that he needed something every day to be driven. I think retirement for so many of us is, I want to wake up and never have to think about anything. But there's a lot of people that would be like, I'd rather be unsuccessful than wake up and never have any challenges. So, whatever. Yeah. So Michael checking in, he goes, last week's advice with the older, very successful guy who may be in a rut. I thought it was insightful, excellent advice. My reading is a guy like this needs stakes, poker. Well, he already did that. Some gambling on the golf course, some skin in the game. Flipping house is going to force him to put enough money in up front to get his competitive juices up, have a long time horizon to stay invested, and the potential to get his hands dirty on some level or another. My dad is wired similarly, not quite as wealthy, but similar profile. He gets into volunteer organizations. That was also great because the guy admitted, I'm not saying it's great that he's not volunteering, because if anybody that's ever done it, when you do it, you're like, yeah, this is kind of why people do it, man. It makes you reset a little bit and appreciate some of the things you have. I mean, it really does happen if you do volunteer. I would recommend it. But our guy was like, yeah, I don't want to volunteer. So this guy emailing goes, his father gets into volunteer organizations and figure out how to be in charge of them and sets high fundraising goals. All right. So that's pretty good. So little recommendation there as a follow-up. Okay. Let's do our Nantucket guy here. Phrasing. We'll call this guy Jay. Big fan. All right. Grew up on Nantucket, so I feel like you're someone who understands my perspective and can shed some light on some of the issues that have been mulling inside of me for a while now. Mom and dad went to Nantucket High School. Shout out to the Whalers. Some of these guys are so young now. It's like, is there any chance I played against? Probably not his mom, but I probably, who knows? I could have played against his dad and something. He said his dad has a successful kind of family business and also works as a carpenter in the off season. All right. Money's not an issue. But as you know, it can't be said for most of my friends from home. That is certainly the case. No one cares, but it is a very challenging economic deal to be a year-round person without money and trying to figure out how to do it. Some people would say just move from Nantucket, but there's also my siblings love the vineyard, except for my brother. I have my other siblings. There's always this thing about places like this. And I think there's places like this all over the world, but I see firsthand people that grow up in the vineyard, like they have this real hardcore emotional attachment that's different than maybe just another place that's home for other people, because the lifestyle is it's very different. It's different. So, all right, this is cool. He goes, I am someone there. I was a smart kid. I was captain of the football team. All right. Regular at parties where I do some off the wall things, Ryan. I won't dive into details, but I was a fucking menace. All right. This guy's real badass. While most of my friends stayed on the island after high school and college, I was determined to make an impact and went to university where I didn't fit in. All summer kids. I fucking hate summer kids. All right, but summer kids can be a lot of fun when they have sick houses and you become friends with them and you get to go to their parties. Just a tip. That's what I did. I got through it and graduated with, that's because none of the locals liked me when I moved there. I got through it and graduated with a civil engineering degree and a job where I find the work meaningful. Okay, I work for a big company, construction company. That's cool. Oversees budgets, construction of nonprofits and schools in low-income neighborhoods. Wow, okay. I'm working on a budget for a large homeless shelter in the city. No big deal. But once again, true. All right, so he's making fun of himself, complimenting the fact that they're doing something really great here. I like the job and really good at pre-construction process for someone who only has 1 year of experience. My boss thinks I have a bright future with this company. Whatever that means, he probably says that to everyone who proves themselves capable. Or maybe you suck and he's just trying to motivate you. Don't be afraid of that. Because I remember Yeah, no, I don't believe you suck because I could kind of my sense is that this is the truth, but
He
this
already
is like
told
a
us he's
side note. Yeah, this guy's rules, but this guy sucked. No way, not Jay. But I'm just telling you, for the younger folks that are out there, I'll never forget when one of my college roommates, he was working for some startup, and it was one of these classic deals where he'd heard the rumor, be like, dude, you hear about his stock options? Be like, yeah. Be like, what do they do again? Be like, oh, they're inventing yellow cones because they did studies that yellow actually shows up better than orange. Be like, holy shit, if that company ever goes public, they're like, yeah, dude, he's pretty much going to be like worth 10 million when he's 25. And the rest of us are like, oh my God, because you just believe it. Like, even if you're smart, you're so fucking impressionable and dumb. And you actually will then tell that story to impress other people. Be like, dude, you hear about McGurk? Yeah, he's going to be retired at 25. He's working for that new yellow cone company. Ah, shit. No way. Really? Like, good for him. But, deep down, like, you're weird. You're a little competitive. You're a little jealous. And you don't realize how stupid you all are. You're just like, oh, that's, you know what? Like, everybody has that buddy. And a lot of people tell that story. Be like, oh, if we'd ever gone public. Yeah, but you know what? You didn't. You didn't. And then you had to get another job like somebody else. And so I had this other friend that we were driving around. I was like, how's work? I mean, this is early 20s, fresh out of the college womb. And he's like, I was with my boss and she was telling me, she's like, you have no idea how much potential you have. Like, you're incredible. And like, if you could just tweak this. I was like, man, you've only been there like 6 months and she already sees that. And he was like, yeah, no, it's really good. Like, things are great. And then I checked in like a year later. I was like, how's that going there? He's like, oh, I suck at the job. As a parent, she says that to everybody. Like, that's her. That's her John Maxwell 101, where she'll be like, tell everyone how much incredible potential they have. All right, so that sidebar over. Back to our man on Nantucket. While I like my job, I don't love it. I work on screenplays on the side. Uh-oh, here we go. 80 pages into one about a heist. Just started another one. Mix of Stand By Me, The Wire, and Hoop Dreams. I don't know. I'm trying to think what that would be. Bunch of basketball players walking around in the woods, but also
moving dope.
Couch. Yeah, moving dope in the woods.
By the train tracks.
No, that's totally unfair. Elevator pitches can be absolutely torn apart. I love that you're doing it. All right. I love that you're sitting down there. You wrote 80 pages, man. A lot of people talk about it. They never do it. You did it. You wrote pages down. Feel great about yourself. I've always loved film. And if I go back in time, how old are you, dude? This kid's 23? Jesus Christ, wake up. All right, sorry. If I go back in time to 13?
He's an old soul, man.
What are you talking? Yeah, all right. I think I would have taken that career route more seriously. Looked into getting my master's of producing in New York or LA. This could cost some serious cash, though. Actual investment. I also catch myself thinking about going back home, becoming my dad in a sense, back where everybody knows my name. At the same time, I don't know if I'm thinking into things too much. I enjoy what I do now. Is the grass always greener? Where the 23-year-old kid wants to spice things up and buys the motorcycle out of his price range and only drives it twice. Oh, maybe he's not 23. My bad. But I think he's young. Or how a guy tells everyone he knows that he's picking up boxing and only goes to one class. Do you have any thoughts? All right. Don't be... I have so much respect for the guy that goes to one boxing class than the guy that always says he's going to. Okay? So that's a huge hurdle in not just boxing, but all sorts of stuff. Think of all the stuff that you say you want to do and how many of you never, ever do it. Okay? Now, I don't know your age here, but when it comes to Nantucket's always going to be there unless it prices you out and you can't afford to live in a house there. But that's another topic. If you're this young, and it is not unique, as you'll notice through all of these life advice deals, and I went through all the same stuff where you're like, I'm just afraid of being average. And one of the harshest things one of my friends said to me was, what average is, right? That means there's other people that are below average. It's like, wait, is that supposed to make me feel better about being average? Because for a long time, I was pretty sure I was going to be below average, although I had this incredibly misguided expectations of myself, despite the path that I was on to Loserville. I don't know how old you are. It sounds like the job thing is going really well, but why can't you do something online for a semester first and see how that goes before you give up on the career? Because if you like the building part of it, it sounds like you do. I would do that for a little while, and I would do it for more than a couple years. I would not be in a rush to go back to Nantucket just because it's where you're from. Now, if you have this emotional tie that I've described before, that I grew up with so many of my siblings, where it's just like you always find yourself sort of back on Martha's Vineyard because that's inherently what you want to do, then fine. But it's always going to be there. So you shouldn't be that young. And man, I'm telling you, maybe you should live on Nantucket for a winter at a young age and then go, all right, wait a minute, what the hell was I thinking here? Because, those Cape and island towns, specifically the islands, are no place any man in his 20s should be if you have these kinds of aspirations. And I'm not saying like the guy that's happy there and content and starting a family and maybe works in construction or is a fireman or all that kind of stuff. Like you just like the deal, you like the way the town rolls, and that's great. So I'm not dumping on that. But I'm telling you, if you have big time aspirations, when I moved back to Martha's Vineyard in 1999 out of college and was sending out resume tapes from a beta master, that sounded weird.
Yeah, it did.
to different, I don't know, but it isn't. I know it's not even that weird, but it just sounded weird. I was like, what's not the hotbed of networking for on-air sports television shows? Martha's Vineyard in the winter. So I had to get out of there. Like it was a huge mistake for me to even go back. And then I'm like, I just felt like I sort of needed, it was one of those things where I'm like, okay, I'm done with school. I've been in this town a little too long. I've got to move on and I've got to move somewhere else. And instead, what I should have done is stayed up there longer, save money, and then moved to the next town. And for whatever reason, I went home to work for my father and swing a hammer for a while because I did kind of like working outside. So it sounds like you're it may be driven. It sounds like you've done some really great things here, but you have this creative part of you that's gnawing at you. You have to. Not everybody gets to. But if you can pull it off, I think you have to scratch that itch so that you have your answer. And even if it doesn't work out, it's not going to be something. And this is the same advice I'm going to give to every single person whenever it's that creative thing that you want to try. Most people are telling you not to do it. I think it's important to try it. It's almost like moving. Hey, move away, because then if you don't like it somewhere else, you'll appreciate home more. It's the same thing with your career. Challenge yourself. Try something outside of the box. But I think in this case, when you have a nice job that you seem to kind of like, the Nantucket business thing, family stuff, feels like that's still an option for a long time. Why not take something online in New York City or go to a quick kind of seminar, I don't know, on a couple weeks off or something where you can really see if that's something that you want to do. And if you do want to do it and you're good at the job and you're good at the other stuff, take that risk. Take that risk while you're young and you don't have people depending on you. That's what I did. All right. That was, I want to make those shorter, Kyle, but damn, they seem to go really long.
That one hit you right in the heartstrings, though.
Yeah. All right. Well, please subscribe, rate, and review to the Ryen Russillo podcast and the Ringer Podcast Network. Reminder, Bill and I back. I don't want to say back and better than ever, but we're back on Sundays for the remainder of this NBA run. So fired up about that. We'll talk to you on Thursday.